I am a student of Venerable Anasalbede Vimanthero. This is the 5th video. Last 4 videos talked about what is a human being and the 3 energies of a human being. This video talks about the life in layman's terms and the ultimate reality. What is life in layman's terms? We born to this world and we live with mother, father, siblings, relations and neighbors. Later we go to school and learn a lot of things from teachers and we make a lot of friends. Then we go to university and we obtain degree, MBA, PhD and so forth. And we make another set of friends. Later we find a job and make a lot of new friends again. In the meantime, you embrace your parents' culture, beliefs, religion, customs, tradition and so forth. This is what we call life in simple terms. During this period, you may have fights, quarrels, wars, love, kindness, anger, fear, mischief, jealousy, mistrust, creativity, innovations, achievements, technological advancements, and so forth. We earn money and buy cars, properties, make investments, have some savings, own in businesses, and so forth. We then get married and make children and enjoy with them. We invest in children's education and we want them to be at top level in the society. We dedicate ourselves for them and we want our kids becoming managers, leaders, owners and so forth. We make them get married and take care of their children and so forth. By that time, we become old and later we die. You have to give up your earnings, savings, investments, children, spouse, friends, relations, neighbors and so forth. This is a simple introduction of life in layman's terms. Is this the life? If this is the life, then are you following this system from your parents? In other words, entire society is following this system from one generation to another generation. Some few exceptions may be there. Example, someone does not marry due to complications seen in marriage life, but still under the same system. What is the biggest issue in this system? This system makes everybody to be followers. Can someone ask the question, does life have different meaning than this? I say yes, there is a different meaning to life than this. What we see is the life on surface. This is true physically, but there is something internal which is going on, cannot be seen physically. So we are in an illusion. We all are in an illusion if we see things physically or on the surface of it, because you cannot see your inner world. Do you like to live in an illusion? What is an illusion? Illusion is that we are living in an unreality. What is unreality? Unreality is that we cannot see reality of things as is. In other words, we cannot see the reality of body, knowledge and the real self or the unconscious mind. That is the biggest myth in which we are living. Body and knowledge is physical. Based on that, we live our simple life. What we cannot see is the real self, who empowers the knowledge and body. These 3 energies together working as one energy. That is why we cannot see things clearly. Therefore, we cannot see the real self, but you can see body and thoughts. In this simple life, everyone thinks that everyone will die one day. If everyone thinks that you are the body, then yes, you will die. But is the body really you? Who thinks that your body is yourself? Your knowledge thinks that your body is yourself. That is the first stone for the creation of foundation for imitated myself. This is imitated myself, not the real self. Starting point of creating the illusion. When you live in the family, you see how your father, mother and other members call in you. You have been assigned with name. In other words, name is given to body and knowledge. This is based on how you see physically. You see people are dying and concluding that everything is finished in the life with the death. Because after dying there is no physical presence. That means everything decided based on what we see physically. So illusion continues. Not only that, your knowledge thinks that achievements in your life done by your body and knowledge. Example, great results at advanced level exam, awards in athletic events, some ranks in school societies, awards, degrees, MBAs, PhDs, and so forth. It is a wrong perception by the knowledge. These are the building blocks of creating foundation for imitated myself. Further, when you start a job and getting continuous promotion, your knowledge thinks that those are done by your body and knowledge. This is another way of creating imitated myself. Basically, your knowledge has concluded your body and knowledge is yourself. Your positions, designations are assigned to body and knowledge as yourself. Your name assigned to your body and knowledge as yourself. Achievements assigned to your body and knowledge as yourself. Education assigned to your body and knowledge as yourself. Profession assigned to your body and knowledge as yourself. Therefore, your knowledge cannot see your real self. Your knowledge is an illusion. All these concepts are operating within your knowledge. Not only that, how many times you go to the mirror and see your body as yourself? Illusion continues until your death. This is what happened to the real self in past. You never identified your real self in past. Even you are connected to a knowledge, you are not in a position to identify your real self. Your inner world is different to your body and knowledge. What is birth in terms of inner world? Given an opportunity to one of the unconscious minds to connect with knowledge and identify its real self and to become conscious before the death of the body. So, after the death of the body, consciousness of the real self continues. However, birth is different in physical terms. In physical terms, birth is a creation of a new body to the world. This body is a result of combination of parents' genes. That is a biological machine. Most important part of the biological machine is the brain. Brain creates sensations and those are stored in knowledge. Simple terms, you think that yourself is born by looking at the body. Any human being is a construct of three energies. They are genes, knowledge and real self. Genes make your body and then knowledge is attached to brain. Real self is attached to knowledge. Real self or unconscious mind has two parts. Non-material energies such as liking, disliking, desire, anger, pleasure, ego, self, fear, mischief, mistrust and so forth. And the second part is the pure power itself. Real self is invisible and not subject to time. So let me explain the relationship between the knowledge and the real self. Data captured by five sensory organs is transformed into sensations by the brain and sending these sensations to the knowledge. So knowledge captures and stores all the sensations, and knowledge can create its own sensations too via thinking process using the stored sensations. These stored sensations are food to real self or the unconscious mind. Therefore, real self consumes these sensations in the knowledge and controls the knowledge. Once the knowledge is controlled by the real self, then automatically brain will act and use the eyes, ears, nose, tongue and body itself as required by the brain. Brain works based on knowledge. When the brain of a child is active in mother's womb, then knowledge is active. In other words, sensations are active and stored in the knowledge. Therefore, suitable unconscious mind will connect with the knowledge to consume these sensations. This unconscious mind has been active before connecting to. It is not a newly born energy. It has been there in the universal nature. Only difference after connecting to the knowledge is that it can consume the sensations in the knowledge. But before connecting to knowledge, it might or might not have the connection to a knowledge. As I explained previously, real self is a combination of non-material energies and pure power. Non-material energies consist of many versions, so you can take many versions of real self. One time you can become the anger, another time you can become the desire, another time you can become the fear, another time you can become the jealousy. So there are many versions of real self. All these versions together form your real self. I would like to give you further clarity on this. If you become angry, then you need to accept that the anger is your real self, because the anger does not belong to somebody. It occurs within you. You cannot reject it. If you are trying to reject the anger, then you are rejecting your real self. That means you are going against the reality. You have to accept the reality. Likewise, you need to accept your all versions of your real self. So you gradually get to know about your real self. Therefore, one day you will be able to see all versions of your real self. Your achievements and so forth are taken as yourself by your knowledge. How these achievements are made? Let's look into this closely, whether there is a person or not in this achievement. Let's take one example. Great results at advanced level exam. You studied hard, that's why you got good results. Studied hard means what? All subject matters were stored in the knowledge, so when questions were raised, answers were provided automatically from the knowledge. There was no person here, but there was a process going on. That is why answers were thrown out automatically. Who gave power to study and store information in the knowledge? If there was no desire to study, no good results. So the desire was the key to study hard. The desire is one version of many versions of the real self, not the body or knowledge. If anyone does not like to study hard, then he or she fails the exam, because the real self becomes the disliking. The disliking is another version of the real self. Another example. Someone achieved the first place from 100 meters run. He worked hard to get the results. Training, practice, techniques, healthier body, food and so forth definitely contributed to get the first place. But if real self disliked the training, practice and so forth, no results could be achieved. To do this, who gave the power? It was the real self. not the body or the knowledge. But body and knowledge were definite contributors to the achievements, but power was coming from the real self. That was the desire. Award-winning degree, MBAs, PhDs, promotions in job, and so forth are possible due to desire to achieve those. It is the real self provides the power, not the body or knowledge. Let's take another example. If a doctor wants to do a surgery successfully, then how these three energies work together? Definitely you need to have a healthier body to perform the surgery. Same way you need to have the knowledge to perform the surgery. Even though you have these two prerequisites to perform the surgery, if your real self does not give power to do so, in other words, real self does not like to perform the surgery, then the surgery will not be done. Therefore, source of every thought coming from the versions of real self. Actions will follow after the thought is generated. In this case, to become even a doctor, real self provided the power, not the body or knowledge. The body and knowledge are process driven. There is no specific person in this. You cannot find your real self in these two energies, but physically you can see these two energies working. That is the surface of the life. This can be seen from the knowledge. The inner world cannot be seen from the knowledge. Inner world can be seen from the intelligence with love. Intelligence can be created, seen the reality. Reality can be seen via analysis of your behaviors and analysis of information received from your teacher who had already realized the real self. You need to see the reality of both these analyses to build the intelligence. Finally, you should be able to identify and see the behavior of three energies separately. That is genes, knowledge, and unconscious mind. Intelligence with love can see inner world or the versions of real self. Later, you will realize these versions were created due to lack of reality. Non-material energies cannot exist when reality is present. That means liking, disliking, desire, anger, fear, mischief, jealousy, and so forth cannot exist when reality is present. As long as unreality is present, these non-material energies are active. When you see the ultimate reality, all the non-material energies will be disappeared. Your pure power itself is the ultimate reality, and no more non-material energies exist in the real self. Intelligence will remain in the real self. That is the only energy exists in the real self. Therefore, there is no journey to pure power as only one energy exists. When there are many versions of the real self, pure energy is in a journey with many non-material energies. That is all I want to talk about in this video. If you have comments, please include those in comment section. We'll provide feedback in consultation with my teacher. Thank you.